Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Gamespot's Best of 2017 Countdown. Today, it is finally time, December 20th, to do our mega stream, counting down from our third game to our second to our overall Game of the Year as voted and argued on by the Gamespot staff. We pretty much might as well get right into it because I'm sure all of you think you know what this game is. So here's a montage for our number 3 game of 2017. There you have it. Super Mario Odyssey from Nintendo is our number 3 game of 2017. I'm Mike Mahardy here to chat about it with Peter Brown.
Hello again.
Randolph Ramsey.
Hello, everybody.
And Justin Haywald.
Hey.
You both like this game a lot, so I figured you I bring you on. You didn't bring me on, but you like this game a lot. We all argued over this and the number 2 game because it was kind of we knew what the top 3 were, but we had to deliberate on what to decide to give it to you. You kind of almost spoiled the game, right?
I did.
Our sweaters
I
both give it
did.
away.
That's why I covered up my sweater before the stream, but here it is now. This is completely coincidental, by the way. My wife bought me
reveal.
this.
And
She
you
didn't decide on number 3.
Blame your wife. The T-Rexes are in Mario as well, Justin.
And
You
I
both
just like
spoiled it.
dinosaurs. I was not intentionally.
Buff Santa's not in it, so I can't be blamed for anything.
Buff Santa's in Star Wars.
But anyway, Super Mario Odyssey, obviously the next in the long-running series of one of the most iconic characters in video games, specifically one of the 3D platformers. What does this game do, Justin, that kind of pushed the 3D Mario, or the 3D platformers, like evolved it, so to speak?
This was a really hard decision to make, especially in a year like 2017. And you would think, like a traditional platformer, it's not going to live up. And like I thought as well that like Mario's going to be in the top 10, but getting as high as it did for number 3, the thing that I think really catapulted is both the new mechanics that it introduced. Like it's really fun to take control of other characters, to use the hat in kind of a really, not necessarily innovative, but a really different way for a Mario game, but also that it just encapsulates fun. Like it is joy in a disc.
Encapsulates fun.
It puts it into a pill and you eat it.
Yeah. But yeah, the puns are already rolling. We're watching B-roll of New Donk City right here. Randy, like all the different kingdoms you go to are kind of, this is the first time you see real people, or what are that you would assume are real people.
Real people.
Yeah,
people.
Billions, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on in this game. But how do those mechanics kind of coalesce to actually make the gameplay and the world design feel like, you know, like you're collecting power moons in this. Usually it's like stars or shines or what have you. But you're collecting power moons in this, and you were talking earlier before we went live about how it's more of a steady stream of them rather than like one that takes a while to get and then you go to the next one. It's kind of the stream of like dopamine releases.
Yeah. I think in terms of like game design, they've made a lot of sort of moves to make it more accessible to on-the-go play, which the Switch is excellent at. And yeah, as you said, you know, moons in this. There's like what, 800, more than 800 moons in the game.
33, I think.
Yeah, so you're only ever like 1 or 2 minutes away from actually finding something. And then the world is designed, you know, all the different sort of like kingdoms are designed in such a way that, you know, like anywhere that you look if you go in that direction, you'll probably find something that is interesting or a moon that you can achieve. I played this game. I think the bulk of this game I played while I was on a bus, to and from work. And it always felt like I was actually achieving something, that I'd made a lot of progress every time I actually touched this game.
It's almost like a mobile-like experience.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, Pete, you reviewed this, gave it one of the 3 10 out of 10s at GameSpot, which means it's essential. What was it about what makes this game essential? You were talking about how like the difficulty, because the game, much of the platforming isn't difficult in itself until you get to later stages. Right. You were saying it's difficult in a different way, kind of the way it encourages you to look at the world.
Yeah, as Randy was saying, pick a direction, go there, you'll find something, but you slowly learn that there are certain rules at play, and manipulating the camera in such a way can help you look at the world differently, and it's a lot about deciding like what your surroundings are and what you're capable of achieving, with Mario's skills, and sometimes obviously using Cappy to look beyond Mario's skills and see how the enemies in the environment help. It's not difficult in that it's challenging. It's difficult in that it challenges you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Justin, like we're looking at Tostarena Town in the Desert Kingdom. Or, I mean, this is the Desert Kingdom. Tostarena Town's off to the left somewhere. But one thing this game does also, it like gives you these sandboxes rather than these discrete levels. Obviously, in older Marios, oftentimes, there were open world aspects, or at least small sandbox open world aspects. But this very much encourages you to just go explore. And that kind of ties into the fact that you can find power moons left and right, anywhere you want. How did you feel that the sandbox design of the worlds contributed to the overall experience?
Yeah, like Randy said, it's a lot of fun. It just keeps pulling you along. Like I think other Mario games, it felt like you would go into a level and you have a distinct star that you're going for, and maybe there's some other side things that you'd go along. But here, it's like it's a sense of discovery. Everything that you find, you're like, as you're going along, you're like, here's what I think I'm gonna do, and then you get pulled on. You say, well, I see something else. Let me try to go do that really quickly, and like it just adds to that. I'm gonna keep playing like just one more, like I guess a Pringles type feel. Like I can't stop. I want to keep grabbing more moons.
Yeah, also the variety of activities that you're doing. I mean, like the variety is in itself is sometimes used as a buzzword just to describe a game as being fun. But this one, like I mean, you throw your cap at like a pterodactyl to start gliding around, but then in like 5 minutes later, you're doing this infuriating mini game where the guy shows you the steps you're supposed to take, the pattern, and then they disappear after a while. So you have to kind of.
It was fun.
It was fun. No. It was real. I thought it was fun, but I sucked at it. The circle one in the desert. It took me like 6 tries, and I literally had to start walking and then just keep the analog stick at that certain angle. But did you find that the variety of quests or missions or just Power Moon challenges were kind of enough to keep you going from one to the next, Randy?
I did, yeah, and I think one of the sort of the best things about this too is you can play this game in a variety of different ways, and I think accessibility is one of the key things in this thing, right? I think this game in some quarters has been criticized for being a little bit too safe with the Mario formula, right? Like it didn't actually push, what Mario is capable of in the same way that other games, push their genres. But I think in the ways that it did push, there were really smart ways. Just having no lives, for example, in this one is like a critical change to how Mario does things. Cappy and the ability to have it was like a few dozen different forms, throughout the game. Being able to buy moons, I think is such an interesting way to try and make you keep up with other people whose skill levels may be higher than yours. If you want to see more of the end game or later stages, you don't necessarily have to go and get all the moons and in each of the worlds. You can just buy your way through it. It does like so many new interesting things that makes it, I think, the most accessible Mario's ever been.
I think it's really interesting as well that it doesn't unlock new abilities. Like you go to all these new worlds, you have the same skill set from the very beginning of the game. The things you're buying are completely cosmetic, but you're kind of driven along. You're like, no, I want to unlock this new silly costume or put together a new combination. But no matter what, from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, you have the same skill set.
Yeah, and then also the economy kind of actually, it does push you through the game, but like also in terms of the world design, I feel like, well, without spoiling anything, Pete, like the story does do different things here. That's not usually the main focus of a 3D Mario game. It's kind of one of the most rote narratives in games, I would say. Sure. This does do different things with it, however minor, or they might be. Are they even minor? Is that right?
Well, it doesn't make a big deal about it. Yeah. But it certainly plays with your expectations a little bit, and that's when the story is complete. But then like the game opens up to be even broader. So the story, again, is really not the focus. But it does just sort of remind you that, hey, things are a little bit different now. And the way that they do sort of tinker with your expectations of the narrative pays off, even though it's not like a major change. I mean, well, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. Again, we don't want to spoil it. We're going to be streaming in a few minutes of the game itself, and we might spoil it then. But in general, Justin, what's the number one thing that stuck with you about Mario ever since its October 27th release? You play a lot of Mario games, especially like 3D Mario games. What was it that made this something you wanted to argue for?
In 2017, there's so many amazing games. Like I think this is like one of the hardest Game of the Year discussions we've had in almost 10 years. But Mario stood out just because it really does capture the essence of fun. Like it is just fun in the perfect way. It's like Nintendo nails that with their video games. And Mario, I think, can sometimes be a little formulaic. But this one, it just felt like the right game at the right time to just sit back and enjoy the ride. It was an action-adventure fun movie. And maybe it won't be something that resonates for 20 years down the line, but I think no matter what, like capturing that essence of fun is such a Nintendo thing and something that was just so needed in 2017.
For me, I always bring, like, the angle I bring into our GameSpot Game of the Year discussions is always the old man dad vote.
Yeah.
And for me, like you mentioned, it may not, have that resonance in 20 years. I actually think it might because, I played this with my 8-year-old son. And he essentially played this entire game solo. I tried to help him, as much as I could, but he managed to actually get to the end, defeat the final boss, and now he's going through all the extra challenges, all on his own. And it was only until halfway through that he realized he could actually turn assist mode on. So, in terms of, impact on, someone who's younger, I think this is this generation Super Mario 64, right? Like, this is the game that, my son will remember in 20 years' time as the game that got him into Mario.
Sure.
And it's only a much stronger argument for the Nintendo Switch, as if it needed any more this year. It's almost like another case for Nintendo making a huge comeback in 2017.
It's crazy where the Switch is at right now. I think we all saw Zelda and Mario coming, and we knew that there were other games arriving, but it's crazy to look back now, or at least just look at my Switch menu and be like, wow, there are more games I want to play this second on my Switch than on any other platform.
If you'd have told me that a Nintendo platform would be my preferred console of 2017, I probably would not have believed you a year ago.
I'll believe it.
Yeah, now it makes sense. Anyway, Super Mario Odyssey is GameSpot's number 3 game of 2017. If you're watching this on YouTube or GameSpot after we talked about it live, go catch up on the rest of our Game of the Year. We went Nier Automata, What Remains of Edith Finch, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, Wolfenstein 2, The New Order, Horizon Zero Dawn, Divinity Original Sin 2, and Resident Evil 7. We have not announced the next 2 yet. We will do that shortly if you're watching this live, but go catch up on that.